Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good morning, everyone. So today we are going to continue with the same lecture, same topic that we have been discussing so far. That is the karma rupas related to karma. That means not the rupas directly produced by karma, but who has a certain relationship with karma. It can be a linear relationship in terms of the causes, linear causes, or it can be that the karma has affected these rupas. So whatever it is, there is a certain relationship. So that's what we have been discussing so far. So if I recap what we have done till today in the last two lectures, last week we couldn't do that because there was the full moon day in Sri Lanka. So on full moon days we don't hold any programs because there's a full moon day program going on in the Zoom. The first was 1.52 in the same handout we gave. So first was the kamma paccaya. Kamma paccaya means body parts that are produced, body parts that are affected by karma. Most of the body parts that we possess are produced by utu, but still their formation is greatly, I would say, not determined or decided, but affected. Like the karma has a huge involvement in the way they are formed. That's why the Buddha said a person becomes attractive and non-attractive based on the karma plays a huge role. But it's not only the karma that plays the role here. There can be some other reasons. Like for example, whenever we move to some countries, our skin color gets fair. So if it happens to stay in a area where there's a lot of sun, like IIT, your skin get burned. So these things do happen. The food we eat also affects our appearance. These things do affect, but karma plays a significant role. That's what the Buddha mentioned. So in that regard, what the rupas we see normally, most of the rupas that we are visible to us, produced by utu. That's why in the dead body also, the figure is still visible. So that is not to say that the karma-born rupas are not sensitive to the eye. They are sensitive, but the abandoned part of the body is made out of utu. So what karma does, it plays a huge role in making it attractive. And also the Buddha mentioned one could get a sweet voice due to the past karma. And we explained that is not because the voice is produced by karma. That is because the vocal cords and the vocal area has been affected by a karma in a positive way, so it produces, whenever it produces rupa sound, it becomes very sweet to the ear. Then also the long life karma plays a huge role in it, because the karmas that gave our rebirth, if it was done in a mind stream where we have restrained from killing, the capacity increases, so the person can live long. It means he has a good immune system. Then we discussed about kamma paccaya chitta samuttana, that is the chittaja rupas produced by vipaka chitta cetasikas. So the karma produce vipaka chitta cetasikas. Then when vipaka chitta cetasikas produce rupa, these rupa also have a linear connection with the karma, because they are proximate cause, that is the vipaka chitta cetasikas. I'll just make it a little bit clear here. We have already discussed it. So kamma produces vipaka chitta plus cetasika, and they produce chittaja rupa. So chittaja, how kamma is related to them? Kamma is the cause of chittaja rupa, right? Is the cause of chittaja rupa, right? Cause of chittaja rupa. Then that was kamma paccaya chitta samuttana. Then we moved on to kamma paccaya ahara samuttana. That was kamma produces kammaja rupa, and those kammaja rupas have oja in it. So this oja produces aharaja rupa. So in that sense, kamma is the cause of aharaja rūpa. That's a linear connection. Then we discussed about kamma paccaya utu samuttana. So that was twofold. Kamma producing kammaja rūpa, and these kammaja rūpas have utu tejo dhatu, then they produce utuja rūpa. So here kamma is the cause of utuja rūpa, cause of the cause of. Then we also discussed about some strange phenomenon happening when someone has done a good merit and born in the divine realm. He not only his body, but also the inanimate things like the mansion, the beds, food, and all these are also produced by the karma. So in terms of the rupas, they are utuja rupas, but greatly supported by karma. In that regard, I said there's something to be discussed whether these rupas are directly produced by karma or is it the outcome of the utuja rupas that has been already existing in that place. So that was something to be discussed later. I'm unable to give a specific answer for that. Then kamma vipakaja abhada, that's where we stopped last time, right? Kamma vipakaja abhada are the sickness caused by karma. Then we come into a new term. Today's our topic would be, we are going to finish this topic about Rūpa related to karma today. Upadinaka or upadinna Rūpa. Then we discussed about how karma is affecting the physical world. When I say physical world, is something other than our own body. So affecting our own body, it makes sense to us. But now think my karma is affecting this mansion, it's affecting this table, this podium, right? So then that is something to be discussed further. Then how karma is experienced, the subjective, is affecting the subjective experience. Is affecting the subject. These are the three topics that we are going to discuss today. So the word upadinna literally has, we can find it in three meanings. Upadinna. First, upadinna means directly karma, things produced by realities, we call realities produced by lokiya karma. Lokiya karma is mundane karma, right? Lokiya karma, not the lokuttara karma. Because the word upadina itself indicates this karma that produces the rupa or whatever is affected or is an object. That is the best word to say. Can be an object of tanha and ditthi. So, therefore, lokuttara karma, the magga chetana is excluded from this. So, we are talking only about the mundane karma. So, any reality may be a mentality or a material reality. Kammaja rupas and vipaka chitta cetasikas. So they are produced by a karma that can be an object of tanha and ditthi. So this is also again twofold as lokiya vipaka, lokiya 32, lokiya vipaka chitta, that is 32 chittas, and they are chetasikas 35, right? 35. So these are the lokiya upadinnaka we call upadinnaka mentalities, nama. Then we have kammaja rūpa. We normally say kammaja rūpa is 20, right? 20 or 18. Kammaja rūpa, either is 20 or 18, whatever. So kammaja rūpa, they are also produced by lokiya karma. Lokuttara karma doesn't produce kammaja rūpa. It produces chittaja rūpa, but not kammaja rūpas. It doesn't give a rebirth actually, right? It is against the rebirth. So this is the first meaning of upadinaka. I think once you have studied the Dhammasangani knows this. Upadin upadaniya dhamma. Anupadin upadaniya dhamma. So the upadina refers to results of the lokiya karma. It is either 32 lokiya vipaka and they are associated with 35 chetasikas or and kamaja rupa. Then the next term upadinaka means, the word upadinaka comes to all the body parts that are together with kamaja rupa. A body part containing kamaja rupa. Body part containing kamaja rupa. Body part containing kamaja rupa. Now think about our finger. This finger, someone touches it, we can feel its sensitivity is there. So what is body sensitivity? Kaya pasada. Kaya pasada is a karma-born matter. So if something is sensitive, that is an indicator that it contains kamaja rupa in it. Now you have to take the finger as it. Now if you take, this is the body part, it is produced mostly by utuja rupas. It is a combination of utuja rupas. But if there are kamaja rupas in it, spread all over it, together with the utuja rupas, then we call it upadinaka. Right? But think about a body part. Now if this is the head, hair comes out of it, for example. Hair. At the root of the hair, according to teachings, kamaja rupas are found, body sensitivity. That's why when we drag a hair, it hurts. Right? It hurts. But in the outer part, like what has come out of the body, doesn't contain any kamaja rupas. So that's why even it is cut, we don't feel it. Hair can be cut because it doesn't contain we can call scientifically nerves, this nerve sensitive to the touch. According to Dhamma, the bodily sensitivity is not found. So in Dhamma point of view, we say the hair that has come out of the body is anupadinaka. Is not, it doesn't contain any kamaja rupas. Hair is a good example. Then the teeth that has come out means out of the gum, the visible part of the teeth, right? You may touch it, but then you will feel some sensitivity. That is not sensitivity is not felt on the teeth. That is when you touch it, it affects the sensitivity of the gum. That's why we feel it. Otherwise, there is no the teeth itself doesn't have the sensitivity, right? And also the nails that have come out, nails. That's why we can cut them, right? So nails, not the root of the nail, nails that have come out normally doesn't contain that touch, the sensitivity. So they are anupadinaka. And then the dead skin. Sometimes certain lumps come out of our body which are not sensitive. These are also anupadinaka. So upadinaka, anupadinaka, in this regard, it's quite difficult to judge which part is anupadina, which part is upadina, especially a lump of the body, a lump of flesh of the body, right? So if it is dry, normally the sign of, now when it comes to the flesh or the skin, if it is anupadinaka, normal sign is it's dried out or it's dead or dried out. So this we normally discuss in the first parajika regarding the male organ. What sort of, when a lump or a flesh has grown on it, whether it contains bodily sensitivity or not is one of the criteria to decide whether it belongs to the male organ or not. And this is related to monk's parajika, right? Entering it into any of the organs of the three organs would entails parajika, that flesh which has grown up from the penis is based on whether it contains kamaja rupa or not. So this is very vital for Bhikku Vinaya when we are making decisions regarding the first parajika. But normally, so therefore the commentators, when they want to explain a lump that has grown on the male organ, whether it contains Kamaja Rūpa or not, the adjective they have used it, if it is dried out or if it is dead, mata chamma, sukka pilakang or mata chammang. Sukka pilakang, pilaka is a cancer, cancer means a growth, right? So if that growth is sukha, is completely dried out. Not all growths are cancers, but in Pali, pilaka refers to any growth, right? Can be a cancer in today's term, medical terms. It may not be a cancer. Anyway, if that growth is dried out and is not sensitive to the body, it's called sukka pilaka. And the dead skin, some skin are dead, right? So that dead skin, if is also not sensitive, is called mata chamma. So these are considered as anupadinaka parts. Anupadinaka parts. Then the body hair that grows on our body or the head hair, these are also anupadinaka part. So this is the second definition. The third is any reality belonging to our life. Any reality belongs to a living being, be it nama or rupa. Nama or rupa. In the handout I have given number 1 and number 3 only. I have excluded number 2 purposefully because it needs some explanation. In order to avoid that, I just gave 2 definitions, but actually there are 3 definitions, right? These are the 3 definitions. You can add them in your own words. The term upadinaka also has 2 definitions. Actually it is 3 actually. Upadinaka rupa is another synonym for kamaja rupas. Its literal meaning is the rupas produced by mundane karma, but the word itself includes mentalities as well, right? The word includes mentalities as well. However, the term upadinaka can also be used to any sort of material quality existing within the body of a living being. Any material quality, whether it contains kamaja rupa or not. And also this includes, this explanation includes mentalities as well. Even maggapala chitta can be called upadinaka. So if you go to the footnote 17, Dhammasanganyataka upadinati sarirataka te he kamma nibbhattava huntu mava adinna gahita paramatta vasena pana ida upadinati uchati. So whether they are produced by karma or not, since they are being grasped by the mind, we call it upadina. Then sub-commentators explain, I haven't given it actually, sub-commentators explain this includes even lokuttara dhammas. So it's not, this adinna paramatta is not by akusala chitta. Just a mere consideration. Even Arahant would say, this is my magga chitta, this is my phala. I attain the phala, my attainment for conventional usage, right? So if something that is considered as I or mine, that is enough to be considered as upadina. So the sub-commentator extends this and says, this also includes lokuttara chittas. Because lokuttara chittas are never an object of kilesa, right? But so when Arahant says that it's my attainment, that means he is saying it in the kiriya chitta. But still the idea, the explanation of consideration as I is there. So anything, but he would never say the robe as I, right? He would never say this is a part of my body, no. It's completely external, even though it is on the body. So likewise, anything that is considered, either with a akusala chitta or kusala chitta or a kiriya chitta, if it is considered as a part of our life, that is enough to be considered, adequate to be considered upadinaka. So this is the third explanation. It is exhaustive. Like exhaustive means it includes everything that belongs to our life. So this is how the gradual development. So this only focuses on kammaja rupas and lokiya vipaka chitta chetsikas. This doesn't include, normally this we can include vipaka chitta chetsikas even, but this is mostly we refer to the rupa part. Among the Rūpa, any Rūpa which contains, any body part which contains Kamaja Rūpa is Upadinaka. If it doesn't contain, like the hair that has come out, is Anupadinaka. So we normally talk about this in the Sanghadisesa offenses, right? Sanghadisesa offenses. Now, for example, when a monk touches a lady with a lustful thought, doesn't matter whether he's touching the Upadinaka part or Anupadinaka part, even touching the head hair, which has no sensitivity, is a Sanghadisesa. Even the monk does it with his body hair. For example, if the body hair is long, some monks do have long body hair, so that doesn't contain sensitivity. So the body hair of a monk touches the head hair of a woman, while the monk is making a lustful attempt to touch her, even though he doesn't feel the sensitivity. If touch happens with his effort, obviously with his effort, due to his effort, then he entails a Sanghadisesa offense. So these words are very important when we talk Vinaya, when we discuss Vinaya. And also this matters in the first Parajika. So, because this has been explained. Then we have another thing called including all the realities that belongs to someone's life. So I have given it in the Sinhalese handout, I couldn't give it in the English handout. Please go to this Dhammasangane commentary part. If you go directly to that sub-commentary, the Mula Tika of this number, this number means in the Chatta Sanghayana, everything is paragraphed, right? So there is a paragraph number for this sentence. If you go to the sub-commentary paragraph of that part, you will find it even includes Lokuttara Dhammas, right? So anything that is considered as I is Upadinaka in that sense. Then, yeah, so these are the things that are important to be known with regard to the word Upadina. I just wanted to explain, I just missed out now. So this is the Kamaja Rūpas, these are the body parts that contain Kamaja Rūpa. And then another thing, another extra point to be discussed here. So body parts that will be useful for the ones who are studying the Vinaya and also reading the doctrine. When you are reading the doctrine in Pali, this may be useful. Now, with regard to this, whether a body part contains Kamaja Rūpa or not, there are two terms. The containing of Kamaja Rūpa is mainly explained based on whether it contains Kaya Pasada. So in some places, Upadinaka has been explained not based on whether it contains Kamaja Rūpa, whether it contains Kaya Pasada. Kaya Pasada is body sensitivity. That is because that's the only way that we can judge, right? So even though if, for example, think this finger contains Bhava Rūpa but not Kaya Pasada, how can we know that? I don't think there's a possibility of knowing it, right? Because only way is whether it feels touch or not, right? But another way to think is, even though it doesn't feel touch, if it is live, if it is not dried, if it is well established, so that is an indicator that it contains Kamaja Rūpa, right? That is another way to look into it. But in the most places of the doctrine, whether to know whether it contains Kamaja Rūpa or not, the definition is given whether it contains Kaya Pasada. Kaya Pasada is what matters here, right? That's how it has been explained. Now then we have two terms, Natta Kaya Pasada. Natta Kaya Pasada. Sometimes it goes as Natta Indriya. Indriya is Kaya Indriya. Kaya Indriya is Kaya Pasada, right? Kaya Indriya. Kaya Indriya. Sometimes only the word Indriya is being used. Indriya. Natta Kaya Pasada means the body sensitivity is destroyed, got destroyed, or it's not found. Then we have another term called Upahata Kaya Pasada. Kaya Indriya, Kaya Pasada. If you cannot find the word kaya pasada, just type upahata kayindriya. Kayindriya. Alright. So upahata kayindriya means this contains kaya pasada, but it's not sensitive to the touch. Why is that? It's been obstructed by some other reasons, maybe due to another sickness. In Ayurvedic point of view, it's due to air element or some whatever. It obstructs the kaya pasada, so the touch is not felt. It's not sensitive to the touch, but it contains kaya pasada. Natta kaya pasada means doesn't have any kaya pasada. So upahata kaya pasada, upahata indriya, this part, body part, is considered as still living. It's still living. So only thing is it cannot feel the touch. So what happens? Why this term came? Now a person who is paralyzed, according to the teachings, now if half of the body is paralyzed, his half of the body contains kamaja rūpa. It cannot feel the touch only. So when that sickness is cured, it starts to feel the touch again. Right? So upahata kayindriya means the body sensitivity is interrupted by some other means, so it cannot feel the touch. So what happened was, one monk, his male organ was upahata kayindriya, it couldn't feel any touch, so he thought it's okay to have sex. Then thinking that because he doesn't feel it, so the biggest component of having sex is the bodily senses. Mainly for that and mental pleasure, people do this activity. So the monk thought, since I don't feel it in my male organ, so he had sex with someone. Then when it was informed to the Buddha, Buddha said, this foolish man or this person has committed parajika, whether he feel or not, whether he felt or not, or whether he feels or not, doesn't matter. If the activity is done, entering the male organ into any of the other organs, related organs, vagina, anus or the mouth, with the intention of having sex, that monk entails parajika. So the commentators clearly explain that why this entailed the parajika, because it was just a upahata kaya indriya, male organ. It means it was a living organ. But if it was natta kaya pasada, it was a dead organ, the male organ was dead, then it would not entail the parajika. But with regard to the female organ, that is different. Even a dead body, a monk having sex with a dead body, as long as the female organ is not destroyed, or if it is the body has not rotten, then the monk entails. Now then we are talking about karma effect in the physical world. Karma effect in the physical world. I have given a long story taken from Udana Pali, right? Taken from Udana. This comes in the sutta called, I forgot the sutta, Uddapana Vattu or something. Tuna Brahmana, right? Mallas together with a larger Bhikku came to the village Tuna Brahmana, right? The village of Tuna, not tuna. Tuna is a fish, right? So the Brahmana tuna. So what happened was, one Buddha was traveling to this village once with a large retinue of Sangha. These Brahmins, the villagers, were against, some were against the Buddha. And they thought, okay, if the Buddha comes, there were no facilities, not much vehicles were there. So well was considered, W-E-L-L, well was considered something that is very important in a village. People come there to have water, right? Drink water. There must not have been some good water systems. So they thought, okay, Buddha would come to this well and drink water, and Buddha was considered like a mundaka, like the recluses were not highly respected by some Brahmins those days. So they thought, if we take water from this is not good for us. So we'll just, and also they were against the Buddha actually. They didn't like the Buddha. Buddha was preaching a doctrine against Brahmanism in certain sense, right? Which was teaching against Atman. So what they did was, they put a lot of rubbish into the well. It is a very bad karma anyway. They put a lot of straw, firewood and completely covered it. So no one could use that. Not only Buddha, no one could use the water now. It's a very bad day. Then what happened? Buddha came close to that area and said to Ananda, yes, Ananda, I want some water. Then Ananda heard that it has been covered, right? This is the second paragraph. Then the Lord, the Buddha, stepped off the road and going up to the foot of a certain tree, sat down on a seat prepared for him. Sitting there, the Lord, this is how in the ancient translations, right? The Lord addressed the Venerable Ananda. Come, Ananda, fetch me some water from that well. Thereupon the Venerable Ananda said to the Buddha, just now, Reverend Sir, the Brahmin householders living in Tuna filled the well to the brim with grass and chaff, thinking, do not let those shaven-headed recluses get water to drink. Right? With that bad intention, they have covered it. The Buddha said, no, you cannot take water, Ananda said. Then the Buddha said for the second time, go and fetch me some water. And said, cannot. No, cannot means it's not possible. Then the Buddha said, for the third time, he said, go and come, Ananda, fetch me some water. So when Buddha said for 3 times, you cannot just stay, right? So it indicates that he wants it. Then what Ananda said, yes, okay, I'll bring, and he went. So when he went there, something strange has happened. I cannot read it in the handout. I'll go to the phone. So he went to the well and said, yes, Reverend Sir. The Venerable Ananda replied, and taking a bowl, he went to the well. Now, as the Venerable Ananda was approaching it, the well threw up all its grass and chaff from its mouth and stood filled to the brim with pure, clear water, as if it were overflowing. Then the Venerable Ananda thought, it is indeed wonderful, it is indeed marvelous. The great supernormal phenomena, potency and power of the Tathagata. As I was approaching this well, it threw up all that grass and chaff from its mouth and now stands filled to the brim with pure, clear water, as if it were overflowing. And taking some water in the bowl, he approached the Buddha and said, it is indeed wonderful, it is indeed marvelous, the great supernormal power, potency and power of the Tathagata. This well now stands filled to the brim with pure, clear water, as if it were overflowing. Drink the water, Lord, drink the water, Sugata. Right, that was his. So what was this? This was a very strange phenomenon. This could have been few. Now, when we look into this from the Theravada perspective, not from a materialistic perspective, if you do look at it from the Theravada perspective, we may have few assumptions. One is, it could be a psychic. Now I face a problem. How do you spell psychic? Okay. Iddhi. P-S? C-H-I? Psychic power. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, psychic. Okay, if you're not sure, psychic power. We'll put it Iddhi Bala. Okay, this cannot be wrong. Right? Iddhi Bala. Iddhi Bala means psychic power of the Tathagata. Maybe Tathagata determined and made a miracle. Okay, that could be a possible. Another possibility is Devas. Deities would have done it. Yes, there are many occasions deities open the gates and many things have happened, right, in our literature. It could be the deities, right, Devas. Or another way to think about it, maybe it's the past merit of the Buddha, punya, merit, merits of the Buddha. So all possibilities are there. All possibilities were there. We normally don't go for the random phenomenon, right? Something has happened, or physical world. If you look into the materialistic way, yes, we would say some sort of a miracle thing happens, water pressure increased from the down due to this, and it came up, maybe, right? So these are, when such abnormal phenomenon happens, we would attribute it either to the psychic power of a great being, or the effect or something done by devas who are invisible to us, or it is due to the karma of someone, right? So since all these three are not visible and cannot be evaluated, so we normally attribute to them, right? That's the normal way we do, right? If you think about our lives, something happens, we would see, or maybe a deva has done it. We normally don't go with the psychic powers because we don't see much people who has that capacity these days. So we attribute to these two. It means my karma, or deva has supported me. That's how normally Buddhists do, right? To be frank. Then now these are the approaches that we can make. So the commentators have mentioned this very clearly, even mentioning all these three attributes, three possibilities. They say this was the merit of the Buddha. So we'll see how they have said it. The next paragraph, the commentary on the sutta states that this miracle was neither caused by any determination made by the Buddha. It's not a psychic or supernatural phenomenon of the Buddha, nor by the influence of devas, celestial beings. It was purely due to the power of merits he had accumulated in past lives. If you go to the footnote 19, Udana Attakata. Ayang pan iddhi means this is not, iddhi means a strange phenomenon has happened. Paniddhi ne buddhanang aditthanena. It's not adittahana iddhi, it's not a determination by the Buddha. Napi devanubhavena. It's not by the devas. Atako bhagavato punyanubhavena paritta desanattang rajagahoto vesali gamane via. Example is given. It's just atako bhagavato punyanubhavena. It's just the merits, power of the merits of the Buddha. Atako bhagavato punyanubhavena. Then the example was given. Paritta desanattang rajagahato vesali gamane via. So in order to preach Ratana Sutta, right? Ratana Sutta, from Vesali he went, Rajagaha he went to Vesali, right? So lots of miracles happened. All these miracles were due to past merits of Buddha, not by Deva, not caused by Deva, not by a psychic power. So when you are explaining Ratana Sutta, right, it's something you have to specially mention. There are three possibilities. When we see a supernatural phenomenon occurring, there can be three possibilities. It can either be a psychic power, it can be a dumped in the Deva, or it can be due to Punya. So Rajagaha to Vesali was purely Punya. Tuna Brahmana village incident was purely Punya of the Buddha. But there are some occasions. Now sometimes Devas did, it says, put some oja, the food, into the Buddha's basket, right? Sometimes Devas do some miracles in Buddha's lives. And also sometimes the Buddha has determined certain things not to happen, right? Certain things not to happen. So you can fetch this information. A lot of information are found. The phenomenon is another thing. What are the strange phenomena that are attributed to the psychic power of a certain being? So what are the strange phenomena that happen due to the influence of devas? What are the strange phenomena that happen due to the punya? For example, Buddha was once, when he spread the Mahakaruna, the compassionate observance, he found, now one day he felt compassionate about the living beings in the pond of Jetavana. There was no water, they are going to die. They are going to die, there was no water. So then he went and he wanted to save them. Then he wanted to take a bath in the water in order to save them. Then Ananda said, no, there's no water. No, just give me my bathing cloth. You will see the Anubhava of the Tathagata. He went there and he went and sat on the staircase, like on the edge of the pond. There was no water to take. So then this affected Sakka. Buddha is going to take water and there is no water. So what he did was he asked one of the devas to make an untimely rain. Right, untimely rain. So that rain was Devata Anubhavena. That was because of the influence of the devas. And also it affected Buddha's punya also was there, because why the Sakka feels like if Buddha wants to do something, I should support it, because Buddha has so great merit that think that they would be his desires would always be respected by many beings, right? There is some sort of influence of his Buddha's punya, but it's not always. So likewise, when such strange phenomenon happen, you can attribute it to any of them. So in this case, it's a punya. So if it is punya, now think, what has happened? It's a physical thing is going on. The straws and grass were put on a well. And then, out of a nothing, water increases and the grass and straw comes out. So this is a physical change in the physical world. So it was not caused by a deva, it was not caused by psychic power, it's caused by the karmic power. So what does it mean? Karma has the ability to affect the physical world. Right? So that's the underlying philosophy here. So if we are going to, when we read in these stories, when we're going to build the karma theory, another way to think about karma is something that can affect the physical world. Many stories are there. So when the Buddha is walking, it says sometimes the rocks, all the burdens goes away from the road naturally. And the sun is covered by a cloud. So these things, phenomenon, are due to his past merits. So his merits, not only his merits, according to Theravada teachings, merits and demerits do affect the physical world. As the literature states, such strange phenomena have frequently occurred in the environment while the Buddha was alive due to his abundant wholesome merits garnered in the samsara, right? Abundant merits. That was very common during the Buddha's time. And then, as mentioned in Dhammapada, karma of certain beings increased then another thing. So now there's another Dhammapada gatha we normally, which is a very famous gatha. Dullabho purisa janyo naso sabbhatta jayati yattaso jayati dhiro tankulan sukamedati. The purisa janya, the great man, is very rare. This was referring to the bodhisattva actually. It's very rare to be obtained. Dullabho purisa janyo. His appearance is very rare. Naso sabbhatta jayati. He doesn't appear everywhere. Only on specific places, specific families. Yattaso jayati dhiro. Whenever he is born in a specific family. Tang kulang sukha medati. That his merits do affect the entire family. It's not like the entire family becomes happier or wealthier because of this one person. So the commentators explain his merit affects the entire family. The commentators explain this phenomenon. As mentioned in Dhammapada, karma of certain beings increases the pleasure of the family he is born into. The commentary on Chula Karma Vibhanga Sutta states that when a person with abundant merit is born in a certain family, its crops, wealth, and even the number of dairy products increase. This is also an example for karma affecting the physical world. Affecting the physical. You have to correct it. Not affecting the physical world. So it affects the physical world. Then it says, now if you look into the paragraph, this is another strange thing has happened. Comes out, right? Its crops increase, number of crops. Wealth, yes, the incomes and everything increases. And even the number of dairy products increase. So dairy products increases. Now for example, think, if this is A, this is the great being, is born. If this is the area, like the property of the family, the crops, it increases. The percentage increases, crops. Then the income increases. Now think about the dairy products. Dairy products. These also increase according to this. Okay, crops increasing. Yes, it's something that happened in the natural world. We already discussed about it. Now how about effect the dairy product? Dairy products are a product of another being, right? Dairy products are milk of the cow. If it increases, what does it mean? The karma is affecting another one's physical, biological system. Right? The cow is producing more milk because of this great man. So normally we say, if you think about like the karma we normally consider, if the cow is producing milk more, that should be her body is healthy, or because of her past karma she has such a capacity. But according to this explanation, because of the merits of this great man, the daily products increase. If he goes away, what happens? It drops down to the natural normal level. The thing is, in these cases, if he leaves, now what the Bodhisattva had 4 great treasures. When he left, they lost. That's why Rahula came and asked, where are the treasures? Says that you had such a treasure, but we cannot see it now. So please give me where you have hidden it. I want to rule the country. So when the person goes away, now another example, one person like Anand, if I remember Ananda Setti, who was the stingy man, when he was born into a certain poor clan, the entire tribe was deprived of food. Then they divided the group into 2. Then the other group, okay, they came into normalcy. Where he was in the group he was there, who didn't get enough food. So finally, he and his mother was isolated. Mother was struggling a lot because of this child. Then mother, even when he could walk and find his own food, she left him alone and she went back. Right? So it shows this abandoned merit or demerits. If someone contains such strong effects of merits or karma, he is affecting the others, his circle, only while he is around. Only while he is around. Now, the dairy products brings a huge problem, huge question. Now we have to redefine what karma is. Normally we say karma is for you. If you do karma, you are going to get results. But this shows, okay, it affects the others. It's called Nissandapala. That is also found in the doctrine, obviously. But in the information that we don't normally consider, it's affecting the physical body of another being. The system has changed. Now, due to some reason, the cow is producing more milk. The cow is producing more milk. What happens is, now there is another explanation in karma. We shall discuss them when we go into karma lecture. Now, mother and father are virtuous. They have lots of good merits done in the past. A child who is born in the mother's womb, the parent's karma is affecting him and he becomes more healthier because of the parents. Yes, it can be understood because physically it is affecting. The boy is born in the mother's womb, so mother's karma and everything can affect him. So as a result, he can be born as a healthy child. These things are possible. But now, think about the cow. Cow and the person are completely different. Maybe he hasn't seen the cow yet. Such a meritorious guy would not go into the fields for a long time, but from the day he's born, from the day he got patisandhi in that family, everything increases. Right? So it's affecting. So it seems like karma is sort like an aura working. Right? So after he leaves the area, he departs from that family, then it is not working. I don't know whether he goes for a journey and come back. During the journey, still the crops will be there. I think the crude would increase. I'm not able to give an answer for that. Then someone can ask a question. Okay, he leaves from the village for 1 year and comes back. Now, still he has the intention that these are my products. These are my stuff. Yes, I think the increasing should not decrease. But if he completely abandons and goes away, like Bodhisattva did, renounce the household, then this will come into the normal. This has to come into the normal level according to the doctrine of karma. Right? So these are the things that are we should need to think more, even in the Theravada perspective. As an interesting phenomenon seen in this information, the effect, right? Not effect of karma upon the corporeality of the other beings. Since the increase of the dairy products due to one's karma means effect of someone's karma upon the organic functioning of cow's body. Right? Organic functioning of the cow's body. The influence of karma on crops shows its impact on plants as well. Okay, it's a physical phenomenon. It's also plants as well. So right? So this is another thing to consider. So this is another important aspect of karma, affecting the physical world, not only the physical world, of the others beings as well. And there will be a place now when we are discussing karma in detail, it affects the other's mind as well. Right? Ambapali was chosen to be a prostitute by the ministers. The commentary says that was due to her karma when they were about to decide how should we treat her. They felt, oh, she's good for prostitution. So it says the karma was affecting the other's mind. Due to the karma of Ambapali, they felt we should treat her like this. Right? So it's the phenomenon of karma is so strange. Right? Maybe that is one of the reasons why it is being denied by many, because it's very difficult to be comprehend. Right? Then the last one. In the same way, there is information about subjective changes regarding the natural world to certain beings due to their strong evil karmas done in the past. We know that in the doctrine, sometimes petas, when they are feeling hungry or thirsty, they approach a river. The other beings are taking bath in the river. While other beings are taking bath, when the peta goes there, it becomes a hot rock for him. He doesn't get even a drop of water. So what has happened? The river is there, that's why we are taking bath. But for that peta, it's a hot rock. This is a subjective phenomenal change. This is something that cannot be explained. To my understanding, this would not suffice any explanation would suffice this to explain this phenomenon. So these are called achintaniya. Achintaniya means unexplainable. Buddha said karma is a achintaniya dhamma. You cannot explain karma completely in detail and grasp it with a logical idea. So the thing is, if it changed to everyone, okay, it makes sense. Like it's affecting the physical world, like what happened in the Buddha's case. The water came out. It's not only for the Buddha, even Ananda saw it, and anyone can come and take water from there. But in this case, it's a subjective change only. Only the peta is seeing it as a hot rock, while the other people are taking bath in that water. So what does it mean? Is it that the actual river has turned into a hot rock? No. The river is there. Only the peta is having such an experience. This can be evidence for some. We call idealism for the idealism. Some say Buddhism is an idealistic idea, like it's only consciousness is there. Only consciousness. Universal idealism. There are even idealism is twofold. Some says no, there is only one consciousness in the world. It's my consciousness. So even others are like zombies, like they don't have. Zombies are not in the sense of ones who you see in the film. Zombie means, philosophical zombie means a person who acts like a human but doesn't have a conscious experience. This is the thought experiment brought to show that there is something called dualism. For the dualism, there should be something called consciousness other than the material. So it's just, philosophical zombies, not the zombies who come and eat your brain, as in the film, right? So some would argue, yes, everything other than my consciousness. Now there are two, like others are all zombies and my consciousness is there. So in that sense, there is a physical world, but only one consciousness in the entire world. Other is everything I experience is a creation of the consciousness. So no one exists other than my consciousness. My consciousness. If we deny the existence of consciousness, that is extreme level, we call nihilism. Very few people accept this idea. Right? Then idealism. The other one is there are only consciousness exists. Just consciousnesses are there. Body is a creation of the consciousness. So then we have that is called universal idealism. Then we have a partial idealism. We call I forgot the exact name. It's like certain things are mind dependent, like the beauty. Beauty is not in the object, it's in the beholder, like how we see it. Theravada teachings, no. Yes, mind also has a certain contribution for this, but the object itself contains some good or bad qualities. Realism we call. So anyway, now this phenomenon can be used as an evidence to show that Buddhism is an idealism. No, this is just, to my understanding, this is, according to the Theravada teachings that we have today, this is just an extraordinary happening. This is an exceptional case. It means when the karma is there, it affects the person only. And he himself is seeing it completely differently. So his subjective experience is affected by the karma. It's not that his karma is affecting the physical world. But there are cases it affected the physical world and a change occurred. So which could be seen and felt, tangible to everyone. But in this regard, it's a subjective experiences changes happen. So only while we are taking bath in the sea or in the river, when the Peta comes, it's only a hot rock for Peta only, not for us. Not for us. And there's a story, while monks were, I think 30 monks were going for Pindapata, one Peta was wandering here and there near a river, and he wanted some water, he was desperate for water. Then the monks understood that he cannot have water, so he said, they take some water. And says, it doesn't appear to me as water. So then the monks with their pattas took water and poured into his mouth. For some time, 30 monks did it. Then after they have you got some? Have you quenched your thirst? He said, no. If just a drop of water, a little bit of water, had gone beyond my throat, I would have thought this life is good. Even they were doing that, they could not give enough water to this person. For 30 monks were filling his stomach with pattas for some time. Then the monks went away because they said, we cannot help you anymore. We did what we could. So the monks could feel the water, monks could even pour the water. And when the monks are pouring water, he felt it. He saw it. But he couldn't see the river. So this is a subjective change. There is a story in ancient Sri Lanka. A hunter killed a deer and ate its meat on the spot. And he has been doing this hunting for some period. Then that karma started to affect him on the spot. He got a huge burning. Karma produced heat in his body. And he felt thirsty. He was running here and there. He came into a monastery. And in monasteries, normally there is water kept for purposes, so for drinking purposes. So he went and start to open the vessels. And he saw all the vessels were empty. And he started to shout, these monks don't even keep some water for drinking. He started shouting. The abbot came out. And he found vessels are filled with water. And he's complaining there's no water. Then the abbot thought, oh, maybe this person has been affected by some great akusala karma and the way he's behaving. Then he said, water is there? No, I cannot see. Then the teacher said, abbot said, you have done a lot of bad karma. You can't you feel the effects in this very life? So please be aware, don't do any bad things. So then he poured water to the person. Then he started to drink. He could drink. He could drink when the abbot was pouring water. But he himself couldn't see the water when he opened the vessels. So this was a subjective experience, subjective change. Then later on he ordained and he became an arahant, right? So it's a happy ending in that story in the end. So that is what it says in the last two paragraphs. The last paragraph. Milakkathissa, a hunter in ancient Ceylon, Sri Lanka, experienced such subjective change after one of his mean evil deeds. After killing a deer and eating its meat, he had a strong thirst. It was a kamma-paccha heat which occurred in his body due to his akusala karma. While wandering here in search of water, he happened to approach a monastery. Seeing water vessels, he opened their lids. Due to the evil deed he just accumulated, he could not see the water which was inside the vessels. However, when the abbot of the monastery came and poured the water into his hands, he could not only see the water but also could drink. Despite the fact that he had drunk water in all the vessels. His thirst was not quenched. It was not quenched. The kamapacha heat which arose due to his kakusala karma was not subdued. This is another example of karma affecting the subjective experience of beings. In the end, he ordained and he became an arahant. So now we conclude the lecture. We finished the lecture. We have finished the topic. It affects the subjective experience. So karma is a great phenomenon. We just talked about the how it affects the physical world, not the mental world, right? And how it affects the rebirth and all. It's a huge topic, which we will take many lectures to discuss in future. So far today we did upadinaka, the term upadinaka, Rūpa related to karma. It's not only for Rūpa. We gave an exhaustive explanation on that. Then how it affects the physical world and also the subjective experience. Subjective experience means when they are seeing, what I wanted to say is that when the Peta approaches a river, if the river becomes a hot rock bed for him, it's not that the karma has changed the physical world. In this regard, it has changed his subjective experience only. But in the second theory, it is affecting the physical world, like what happened to the Buddha. Even others could feel it and see it, right? So this is how the Rūpa related to karma will be explained. So we conclude the lecture. I give the opportunity to ask questions.
Okay, from the Dhamma ceremony, you may go ahead.
Okay. May I ask my question, sir?
Yes.
In Tantra I have read when Bodhisattva Prince was born, he asked his mother, Attinukka amma kichi giyasmin dhanam dasamiti, put in complete in English, is there something to donate at home? My question is, if this two our past merit to training.
You mean the speaking, right?
Speaking and extending his hand, he asked mother that day.
So was it it's like, you mean this action, what he did? The child would never speak, right, when he's born. You mean that, right? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are 3 occasions in which the Bodhisattva has spoken as soon as he was born. First is the Mahosada Jataka, Ummagga Jataka, that when he was born, the Sakka kept a certain sandalwood, piece of sandalwood in his hand. And he came with it, holding it. And then the parents asked, what is this? This is a Mahosada. Mahosada means a great medicine. So that medicine could be used for many sickness during his period. And that's why he was called Mahosada Pandita in the end. And then the Vesantara Jataka, he spoke out asking his mother, is there anything to be given? The mother gave, yes, there is a lot of things you can give, offer, dana. Then in the last life, as the Bodhisattva, he was born and not only he spoke, he walked even. These are 3 special phenomena occurring at the Bodhisattva's life, recorded phenomena. We don't know whether there were any other special occasions in which he could speak and all this. But I don't think that there are occasions that he walked other than the last life. And what is it? Now, these are just signs. These are just special occasions. That is not to say, to my understanding, this is how I understand. I take the responsibility on my answer. To my understanding, Bodhisattva could not go and speak in the palace after that incident. Think about the last life. He was not talking with his mother and father from the day he was born. Right? When he was brought to Asita, he didn't talk with Asita. Right? He just learned the language and gradually started speaking. He couldn't walk. Otherwise, he would have walked to Asita, right? If he could walk like what happened on that occasion. So that was a very special incident, which happens as a sign of his greatness, the greatness that he is going to achieve in this very life. And the same way, in the Vesantara Jataka, he spoke out. Doesn't mean that he was speaking on the way with his mother, no. Mahāsada, he couldn't speak from his childhood. Childhood means from the birth. So these were special 3 occasions. Otherwise, he could, if he was so aware of his environment, he could have easily known his mother has died, right? By 7 days. If you think about the Bodhisattva in a way that he could walk, now for example, think if we try to think that he had that capacity by birth, now Maya taking him back to the palace, and then he was like, she didn't need to hand it over to the king. He would have started walking, right? He would have started walking in the palace here and there from the day of birth. No, this hasn't happened. This was a special incident. So how this incident happened? What was the reason for this incident? Yes, punya plays a huge role. There's no doubt about that, his merits. And then this also happens as a dhammata. That's what it is mentioned in the Mahanidana Sutta. Apadana Unidana, I forgot. Mahapadana Sutta. Dhammata is a bhikkhave. So it is a natural phenomenon, natural law amongst that the Bodhisattva would walk. Sampati jato bodhisattva. Immediately after his birth, he would walk. That was a strange phenomenon happening to every Bodhisattva in his last life. So likewise, these were special occurrences, isolated special occurrences in the Bodhisattva's life. Therefore, then the question comes, how it could happen? Yes, the past merits do play a huge role. The practice he has done, and he was destined to be a Bodhisattva, and that was his last life. Destined to be a Buddha, and that was his last life. So even the natural phenomenon was working there. It's only in his last life that he walked, right? So many cases can be brought into the table while we are explaining such a strange phenomenon. So rather than saying it's only attributing only to karma, I would say karma also played a huge role, and there are maybe other reasons are also there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sadhu.
Okay, how about other friends? If so, Bandi, may I ask a question? So when we talk about the karma, like you said, this karma can affect the material world, even like the cow. But for the cow, that would be objective experience, right?
Cow would be an objective experience for the person, for the doer, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And another thing is, during COVID, many people are getting affected. So what kind of karma that we had done together in the past, and also that karma should be done in the same life with the group, the billions of people, or we had done in a different life and they get a maturity in this life.
Yeah, no, these are called natural phenomena, the pandemics, epidemics, the disaster that occurred recently in Turkey, and the tsunami. When we think about them, very easily we would think that there is a collective karma is affecting. But according to the Theravada teaching, it's not necessary. We cannot deny the fact that if such a disaster was due to a natural collective karma, we cannot deny the possibility, but not the fact with possibility. But normally how it is explained in books is, now think about a natural disaster. Now think about an earthquake which happened due to a natural phenomenon. The earthquake itself was not caused by any person's karma. It was a natural phenomenon going on. So the ones who were in the radius, who were in the area of the earthquake, got trapped into it. There could have been people who had past karma to die in such a way. So when this occurred, that the opportunity, the karma gained the opportunity and they died. They were trapped and they died. That can be one reason. Another phenomenon that we see is that they have an abundance of merits that were working in that very life, that there was no possibility that they could die with such a disaster, or another kusala karma was affecting them, that they would be released from that disaster. So miraculously they would have got released. Then the next thing is for most of the beings in such disaster, they are trapped, they got caught because of the natural phenomenon, not because of any karma. It's mentioned in Paramattha Dipani. There can be beings, for example, think about the earthquake or a tsunami. There can be beings who have karma to live more. Their karma energy is there to live more. Their patisandhi karma is strong. Strong means they could live. And there is no other upachedaka karma obstructing them, affecting them. There is no special karma to kill them. They could have lived and they would have enough lifespan to live. Ayu was there, karma energy was there, and there is no destructive karma coming front to kill them. So this means if these three conditions are there, it means he could have lived, right? So when we are, according to Theravada teachings, since I am living, what does it mean? Surely my patisandhi karma is still energetic enough, right? So that's why I am living. If the energy goes, I suddenly die. No one can prevent that. Then energy is there, Ayu is there, my lifespan is still there, that's why I'm living. My body and this environment, it suits, my body suits to live such period. Right? When I've reached 80s, 90s, then the opportunities are getting lesser and lesser. Then past akusala karma, upaghataka karma that could kill me is not working at the moment. So these three are there. Obviously we can find out these three facts are there, that's why I'm living. So what is the reverse argument? If these three are there, if he has enough karma energy by the patisandhi karma, if the person has enough lifespan left, and if there is no akusala karma to kill the guy, he could be living, right? He could be living. If that would be the reverse argument. No. Even if these three conditions are there, still death can happen. Still death can happen. Due to a natural disaster. Natural disaster is so powerful, even those three conditions were there, still it could kill someone. Epidemic, pandemic still could cause this sickness and kill someone. Carelessness. Someone walking carelessly on an edge could fall down and die. Doing some unnecessary sports, taking a risk, they could die. Even having bad health habits, too much alcohol, drugs, or suiciding, while the other three conditions are there, still death can happen. So therefore, just when a death happens, we cannot attribute them. That the possibilities are either his energy of the patisandhi karma is over, his ayu is over. For example, mostly ayu finishes these days like 80s, 70s, 80s, something like that. A past akusala karma has terminated his life, or it is merely due to a natural phenomenon, or his carelessness, or some other reason. Or maybe due to, now for example, the people who die in a war, Second World War, not everyone died because of their past karma. Most of them died because of the cruelty of a certain group of people who initiated this war and who executed this war. Allies or so the Axis, whatever group, they, because of the cruelty of the party who was killing. So therefore, it is not compulsory to say what is the karma that we have done in order to get caught to COVID, because COVID is a natural phenomenon going on. There can be people who caught. Now, can't it be, so is it the explanation for every collective destruction? No. In some cases, we know the Sakyans, what happened to the Sakyans? According to the doctrine, they were a part of a clan who used fishermen in past life. They used to hunt fish a lot. So that collectively that karma affected them. And many of them died. So there can be some collective karmas affecting in some groups of people. But that is not to say that every disaster that affected a huge amount of people are due to a collective karma. No, according to Theravada teachings.
Okay, thank you so much, Pandit.
Okay.
My last question is regarding the Panjanandriya Dharma. Among the Panjanandriya Dharma, so the Sangha Vedana is the strongest, right? And in some countries, we found, so when a person did one of the Panjanandriya Dharma, so they born in the, normally we say they born in the Avicii, right? But sometimes they only mention in the Niraya. They didn't mention Avicii. So, but in such case, if they born in the Niraya, we have to understand, actually they born in the Avicii.
Yes, Avicii has 16 minor hells, right? 16 minor hells.
Yeah.
So any of them possible. Ajatasattu was born due to his good merits. He was born in the realm of Avicii, but not in the main hell, but in a minor hell. So Anantariya Kamma, Avicii takes you to Avicii. It is not going to take us to a higher hell, not in the first 7, the 8th. But 8th, there are 17 places one can be born. The great hell and the minor hell. We call, in Sinhala, we call Osupat Niraya. Right? In Pali also, I think. Osupat Niraya. The minor hells. So, when it says it takes you to Niraya, it means not only the great Avicii, it could take you to that realm of either the great Avicii or any of the 16.
Okay, thank you so much, Pandit. So there is no more question.
Okay.
Thank you, Pandit.
Okay. Right. I think that's it. Okay. So thank you for listening. Now we concluded karma, Rūpa related to karma. Next week would be a new lesson, Chittaja Rūpa. Rūpas born out of mind. Right. So with this merit of discussing Dhamma, may all of us be able to attain Nibbana as quick as possible. We asked to, and also this will help the sustaining of Buddha Sasana. Buddha Sasanang Chirantittatu, Buddha Sasanang Chirantittatu, Buddha Sasanang Chirantittatu, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu.